So hello and welcome everyone to today's Thursday Live. I am Denise Armenio, certified emotion code, body code, group energy facilitator, genius biofeedback practitioner, and so much more. A mom of four, always so important to bring that up. And I have Claire McInytre with me today, and she is here to help, and she's here on chat to help assist you if you have any questions. Today we are going to do our demo with the Genius, just go over the basics, and I thought I would also just talk about the PEMF a little bit today. Most of you are familiar with this, but if you're not, we'll talk a little bit about it. I won't be able to connect it and have it running while I do the scan because it needs the audio jack, and with the Zoom, you won't be able to hear me, but I will show it to you. What else? Would anybody like to be a volunteer for today? If you would, you can unmute yourself and let me know, or you can write it in the chat. And you could always put, if you want to be a volunteer, preferably someone who has not been a volunteer already. I always like to try to give everybody a try. If you want to put your name and birth date in the chat, and this way I can fill it in and to keep your information private, since this will be posted on Mighty Networks and YouTube. So we can try to keep that all confidential. But is there anyone who would like to volunteer? Should I kind of, let me see who I see here. I see a couple of new names, actually. I'm not sure who's 1-780-604-6036. I don't think I've ever seen that phone number before. Do you have a name? Would you like to be a volunteer?
I would love to be a volunteer. This is Cece. I'm just using a different number.
Oh, okay. You have been a volunteer already, right?
Have, and I'm driving, so I was just listening.
So okay, so let me see if there's someone else that hasn't been a volunteer yet, but good to see you here.
Totally okay.
Denise, Sarah's
oh, okay. Okay, great. Sarah would like to volunteer. Awesome. You don't have to turn on your camera, just your mic, and we can just bypass taking your picture if that's okay. So if you just want to, Sarah, put your birth date and year in the chat, I can enter that information without having everybody see it and know it. Okay, so I am just going to start sharing my screen. And actually, I'm going to stop sharing my screen because I need to enter this information first. So give me 1 second.
I'm not sharing right now.
No, I'm not sharing. I'm just going to type in Sarah's information. So. Where'd your name go? Hold on. NICH.
OLSON.
Yep. And okay, so let me just load this information. We're going to hold on. Now I can go to share screen. Okay, so I've entered that information for you. Is your mic open, Sarah?
I think so. Can you hear me?
I certainly can. So nice
Excellent.
to talk to you. I just wanted
Yes, likewise.
to see I can type it, I can enter it in here. Hard to believe it's February 1st already.
Yeah,
Um,
right.
but what are some of the issues you would like to work with today? The symptoms.
Okay. Anxiety. I have a shoulder issue. My right shoulder has been giving me pain for a long time, and also my lumbar and like the hip joint where it joins the sacroiliac. I think it's the sacroiliac joint. And I'm just getting over some kind of coldy, fluey thing that I suspect is linked with being around a lot of people who have had the injection shedding, if I dare say it.
You are good. Now I just wanted to ask you a couple of questions. As you know, I like to have people rate how each of these things are feeling right now in the moment so that you can gauge it after the session. So on your anxiety,
Okay.
10 is severe. How would you rate your anxiety today?
It's not high today. It's 6.
A 6 out of 10, 10 being severe, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I know it's mild today.
Okay. And your right shoulder?
It's kind of a chronic issue. I would call it a 7.
Okay. And your lumbar, your lower back?
I did some work on myself yesterday and it's very low today. I call it a 2, but it's another chronic.
Okay, well, hopefully you can make some progress. And the sacroiliac joint.
Well, that's kind of, I'm lumping that in with its kind of
The same thing?
sacral pain, yeah.
Okay. And then the respiratory or cold flu symptoms. What
Oh, yeah, that's still, that's maybe still an 8.
okay. All right. So our biggest issues here are the cold flu, right shoulder, and anxiety. And hopefully we can knock out some of the other ones at the same time.
Lovely. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. So as everybody can see, this is how I filled out this user record. It will stay like this. So if next time Sarah was to come in and have a session with me, I could continue writing the notes, maybe so we could see, how, she's rating these items from time to time, or just if she has completely new symptoms and how she rates them, or just what's coming up, what's getting better, just so you have some way to have a space with all the information in there. We could go and click some of these different areas here, but I'm not going to go through them. It's for just this demo. Okay, so I'm just going to hit begin here. And I will have you do a voice recording if you don't mind. So say
Sure.
your first name and last name, and then repeat the vowels A, E, I, O, U. And you might have to do that several times and just watch the counter. Keep repeating until the
Sure.
15 seconds gets to 0.
Got
So
it.
I'll count you down. I'll say 3, 2, 1, begin, and then it's all yours. You ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1, begin.
Sarah Carol Ann Nicholson. A, E, I, O, U. A, E, I, O, U. A, E, I, O, U. A, E.
Perfect. Thank you. And then what I wanted to point out to everybody is on the bottom left, it says voice harmonics. And I do recommend that you press the voice harmonics before you leave this screen. It's really interesting because this is where you can see how the Genius has translated your recording that you just made into a frequency. And this frequency also has healing benefits for you, similar to homeopathy, homeopathy, where like cancels out like. So I'm just going to hit this now for you so you can hear that. Awesome. Okay, so now we can just click hit next. And before we do that, I just wanted to mention to anybody who has a Quanta capsule or they're curious about it. The Quanta capsule is a standalone app that works synergistically with the Genius app, and it is basically used for the clients, although as a user, you can have one as well. This way you can run sessions on yourself and send all the frequencies to the standalone app, and it enables you to listen to that session for up to 7 days. So it's really quite helpful. Anyway, you can upload the information from the Quanta Cap right here by pressing this little purple button, or I don't know what you want to call it, but the purple button there. And if your client sent you their selfie and voice recording from their Quanta capsule, this is where you would upload it. So it's really very simple, and it's just a nice little benefit to have. So I'm just going to click next. Okay, and continue. And we're just going to bypass the picture for you today. I'm just going to take a screenshot of your name. Why not? And let me just add it to photos. And so now that I've added it, I can just hit existing photo. And there it is. There's your name. And let's just see. We could just crop it a little bit. And I'm just going to hit done. And we can hit begin analysis. Okay, and then again, we can just select continue. And here it's asking for an energetic affirmation. So I have an affirmation that I always like to use. Would you like me to use that one, or do you have one that you would like to use? I'm going to take that as
I would like to use, I am very, no, okay, let's use yours. Let's use yours.
You
Thank
sure?
you. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, what is it? What is it?
I'm not holding out. It's all energies are transmuted into the frequency of love.
Okay. How about I am welcoming in the expanded consciousness of love. It's nearly the same. Yeah.
I love it. Let me just give it.
Thank you.
So, and I just like to add, and so it is. Okay.
Brilliant. And
so what happens here is once I hit OK, similar to how you left a voice and the Genius translate that into a frequency, well, here it translates this written text of this particular affirmation into a frequency, and it'll be overlaid every time we run frequencies within this app. So it will be added there to you today. The next thing is I want to point out is that the Genius has 3 categories: body, biofield, and mind. The custom libraries, anybody can have this banner. However, if you're on trial, chances are you don't, unless you've created libraries yourself, which might be unlikely, or you've purchased libraries. So you won't see this, but once you do, that is when custom libraries will show up, and the Genius is the exact same for everyone. So when I hit begin analysis, it will rotate the 3 categories: body, biofield, and mind, and it will stop in the order in which it sees the priority to work on. So you'll see that happen now in just a minute when I hit begin analysis. Okay, so biofield is showing up top for you, then body, then mind, and custom libraries again will always be on the bottom. While we're here, I am just going to go to libraries and do a quick balance there as well. Hey, I'm just noticing here that the library for stability and grounding is showing up on top, and that's in the present. We're just, when we look at the aura, I'll be curious to see if it shows you grounded or not. Those are just, sometimes we like to see how those things match up. But first, before we do that, I just want to go over what the numbers on the right-hand side mean, and the color, and these arrows and things. So first things first. So the Genius uses a numerical value system. It goes from 0 to 777. That range is divided into 4 different groups. The lowest group goes from 0 to 200, and it is represented by the color blue. Items in this range are observed to be chronic and energetic disturbances. That could also be referred to as stagnant energy, under energy, and also these items are found or observed to be causing more of a crisis on your body. The next range goes from 201 to 450. That is represented by the color green. Then we go to 451 to 600. That is represented by the color yellow. And then from there, we go from 601 to 777. That is represented by the color red. Items in this range are observed to be acute energetic disturbances, meaning that they're out of balance right now. So if you're, sometimes some items that show up here may not resonate with you, but they may be things that you could have absorbed from the people around you, maybe that you work with or that you live with, or especially if you're in, you know, crowded bars or restaurants or public transportation, or, you know, any public place where there's a lot of people. So always keep that in mind. And then there's always the potential, based on your belief system, that some of these frequencies could be bleeding through from past lives. So do take all of that into consideration. Sometimes it may not make sense to you in this present moment, but that is, the Genius is very accurate, so that frequency is there. And as long as we work with it to try and balance it and harmonize it, that's really the main focus. So the yellow and the greens, people always want to know, well, what is the normal range that everything should be in? It really depends on the practitioner. I like to work with keeping a tight range. So everything between 400 and 600 is the range I like to work with. That would be like my somewhat normal range, and anything outside of that range, I like to work with those items. While you're just getting used to the Genius and you're starting out new, you may just want to keep that to the reds and blues until you get more familiar and used to navigating this system. And then you could expand that as you go along. But definitely just starting off simple in the beginning is the easiest. So then we have the arrows on the side, on the left-hand side. That's there. That's just information telling us that we can go a level deeper. So in the body, we have all these different categories, or what we might call libraries. And then if you click on the arrow or you click on the line, it opens up that library. So for example, amino acids, when I click on the line, now I see all the different amino acids, and it's arranged in numerical value from high to low. And because it's color coded, it's easy for everybody to identify what range it is in. Now let's just jump on down to aura. And if you notice, the aura does not have those two arrows to the left of it. And that's because the aura is not a library here. The aura is actually where we go when we want to get your aura picture. And we're going to do that right now. So I'm going to click on the line, and now I could hit begin analysis. I'm just going to hide the avatar. So what we look for here is, well, we're going to be working with the 7 colors of the different chakras, and we're looking for bright, vibrant colors. And really, the brighter, or on the neon side of the color, is ideal. And you'd like to see all of these different like rings or layers of the aura to be clear. If they look blurry or dirty or muddy, that's an indication of stagnation or interference or negative energies coming through. And we have seen a lot of that as of late, due to the little thing in your arm, that it's a little bit blurrier, so maybe weakening the aura a bit. So maintenance on working with your aura is always important. I'm going to just switch to the old version of the aura. It looks different, and it gives us a little bit different information. So I can just click here. Now what we do look for is that all corners are filled with color. That indicates that you're grounded and in your body. And so you do appear to be mostly grounded in your body. So that is a good thing. And then in the center here, just so you know, you can't see it so much now, but there's always going to be like a little kind of like white bright spot. That's always there. That's just however the formatting is for the aura in this view. It tends to always be there. I guess this line going across it's not making it as obvious today, but it is normal to see that there. And again, here you're looking for bright, vibrant colors, ideally one color, but you know, you are going to see different shadings at times. And again, you can see here there's like this little shading of gray or like a light black coming in. That again is interference or some negative energies. So we will try to work with some of that today. Okay, so the first thing I wanted to say also is that the genius is not diagnostic in the allopathic sense. So the results that you get here can't be directly correlated by any tests that a Western medical doctor may give you. For example, if you look at the vitamins, whatever the ranges show, high or low, they're not indicating a low as in deficiency or a high as in you have too much of it. It's just the only information that is telling you is if it's in balance for a long period of time or a short period of time, out of balance, like right in the present. So it doesn't tell you the physical aspect of it. So let's look at today's stress, which is right here. And so showing up today, right now in the present, acid, hormonal, connective tissue, liver, blood sugar, brain sensitivities are showing up. That's what's out of balance right now. It is causing somewhat of a stress on your body right now because it is, out of balance right now. So hopefully we can work on that and get that back in balance. But the items that appear to be more chronic for you and out of balance longer is heavy metal toxicity, cardiovascular, immune, kidneys, lymphatic, emotional. So I'm just gonna add the blue ones in here. Oh, well, actually, I'm sorry. I'm not gonna do that right away, because the first step I like to do is work with priming the vessel or the body, and doing that is similar to when you build a foundation to the house. You want the foundation to be strong. That way you can build layers on top of it and eventually put your windows in. So the same thing for us. And how we're going to strengthen our vessel is by working with the biofield and also your vitamins, minerals, and amino acids. Now, I do have a library that I use for that. I've added a few other things besides what I just mentioned. But if you don't have it, you can simply drag and drop all the items from the biofield section and then just pull in the vitamins, minerals, and amino acids from the body section. And that little black tab lets you get to the advanced search. So that's how I brought that up. And so here you will see the vessel priming frequencies for anybody that has who purchased the BioTerrain package or the Pro package. These 37 or 38, I can't remember, panels you already received and should be working with. And if you didn't purchase that package, you're always welcome to buy those individually. But this vessel priming frequencies contains 164 or 65 items in it. So I'm just going to add all of them because these are all really important in making your biofield strong, and the cells of your body all need the proper nutrition. So now that we have all those items into the main hold tray, and there are 3 different trays. There is the quick zap, the main hold tray, which is where I just put items. And then there is a quick balance. The quick balance, you can see down on the bottom, like with that red banner, it says high and low items only. So the timer on the right, you can set it for however many minutes you want, or 0 minutes if you want to just run it manually. And it will run only the frequencies for all the reds and the blues in this panel that we're working on right now. Or we can add them all to the quick zap tray. And again, there is a timer in the quick zap tray, and you can set it on, and it could run all the items in this vessel priming frequency. I have added them though to the main hold tray, and this is the tray I predominantly use, and that is because it's a little bit more advanced, as the Genius uses algorithms, and it will look at the relationship of all the items in the main hold tray. So what that means is, for example, some items that may appear yellow or green here, when we go to the main hold tray, which brings us to a screen that we'll see in a minute, Progressive Insights. When it looks at the relationship, sometimes some of these items that may be more balanced now may not be balanced when they're all together. So in other words, they kind of don't all play nice in the sandbox together. So I like to put them all in that way, just to make sure that we're getting everything. So I'm just going to hit begin analysis now. The sound does cut out, so I will be quiet when this is running. Okay, so I always like to select all first. And you can see all items have been selected. And then I'll put the timer on 1 minute. I always start with all in 1 minute, and more is not always better. I find that quick, short, running the frequencies is more effective than running the frequencies for a long period of time. But with that said, there are always exceptions to that. New injuries or new colds or things like that, running it for a longer period of time can be very helpful. Or even if you're working with parasites, you would want to run the frequencies longer, at least for a minimum of 17 minutes, but in multiples of 17. Otherwise, I like keeping it to short, little like pulses of the frequencies. So with that said, I'm going to start play now here. Okay, so excellent. So you have a 61% average rectification. That's really great. Anything over 40% is considered excellent, and anything between 20% and 40% is considered good. What I also like to have everybody get into a habit of looking at, even if the average percent rectification is a good or excellent, I always want you to look at what the percentages are for harmony, alignment, and energy flow. I always look at the lowest percentage and the highest percentage, and I don't want that range to really go beyond 20%. And that's because I just, in my observations in working with the Genius, if that range gets bigger, like let's say if it was 50 or 60, even if the average percent rectification was high, so you would see an extreme range there, like maybe harmony would be 8 and alignment and energy flow at, I don't know, 70. You would still have a high percent rectification, but that would really be unstable because you would have such a huge range in there. And so everything could go out of balance. So I would run that, even if I had a high percent rectification, I would run it again until the range is smaller there. But you did great here. So something that you could do, but you wouldn't have to, it really on your gut, you could hit rescan here. And then sometimes I just like to select the highs and the lows. And I'll put the timer on 0 and just run the new set of highs and lows. Now, these are all probabilities. We don't know for sure. The Genius has no way of telling us specifically what items has balanced. So these are all probabilities. but we can just work with the new set of highs and lows for a short 30 seconds. Again, you've done really well here. So of the highs and the lows, you had a average percent rectification of 43. And again, harmony was at 40, energy flow 49. So that's nice and tight in there. So now we can go back by hitting the back arrow up top on the left and bring us back to the system overview page. The first thing I would like to do is click on the little arrow next to the main hold tray, and we can hit clear all to empty this. And then I like to work with the general overview. The way you get to the general overview is that you will click on the system overview. And just to tell you quickly what the general overview is the Genius adds in all the items from all of my libraries and all of the line items from the system overview, and it puts it in chronological order. So this gives you a really great way to see what all your high highs and low lows are. And also, a lot of these blues are going to be your root cause or underlying cause for many of the symptoms that you are aware of, and possibly things that are going on in your body where things are out of balance that you're not so aware of. But it's a great way to get to the genesis of some of these things. So we're going to start there now. Okay, so also don't be alarmed. You're going to see a lot of 777s and a lot of reds. And if, when I flip it, the same with ones. I have so many panels, over 2,000. So there are must have close to 80,000 line items. Given that there's only a range of 777 numbers, there's going to be a lot of overlap to be able to put, 80 plus 1,000 frequencies into 777 slots. So again, don't let this get you nervous or anxious by seeing that. So I'm just going to hit up top where it says 0 to 100 and reverse the view. And I'm going to begin by adding, if you go down to the main hold tray down on the bottom, all the way on the left, that crosshair or plus, it gives me the ability to add the top 50 and the bottom 50. I'm going to start by adding the bottom 50. And here we can see some things that are going on here. I enjoy connecting with people, axonal neuronal neuropathy. I am now releasing the vibration of the past crisis. We have some lung and lymph cleanse program going on. Maybe that will help with your respiratory issues that you're experiencing. And you can go on and see, sometimes these will make sense and resonate with you, and sometimes they won't. So now the next thing I'm going to do is remove all my libraries, and that will leave us just with the items from the system overview page. And I am going to add all the blues. Okay, now I do mix this up sometimes, everyone. So sometimes I add the top 50 reds and blues and work with those, and then just work with the reds and the blues from the system overview. I've been liking to work with it this way lately. So, but either way is fine. But for Sarah, we are seeing that you have a lot of meridian points out of balance here. So again, that is something that we may want to look at when we get back to the system overview page. But nevertheless, we're going to get a chance to work with them all now, which is great. So I'm just going to go into, select the play button for the main hold tray and hit begin analysis. Okay, and now again, select all, and I'll move the timer to 1. Okay, so the average percent rectification is 27%. And then you see the range go from 14 to 35. So I'm going to work with this a little bit more. I'm not going to hit rescan yet on this, but I am going to deselect the all, and I'm going to select the highs and the lows, and we can move it to 30 seconds or 0 minutes so that we can select just 30 seconds and see if we can get this up higher for you. As you can see, you did excellent. Your average percent rectification is 46, and the range goes from 42 to 52, which is a 10% range. So that's great. It's right within that range area there. I did want to just remind you that if anybody did have the PEMF, it would connect via Bluetooth, and you would just turn the little button on. You can't see much here, but I am going to turn it off because maybe you couldn't hear me there for a second. I'm not sure. And then instead of hearing sound, you everything would just go through the PEMF. And you can see that Claire is holding hers up. If you can just see her. Gosh, yours looks so much bigger than mine in that little picture. And the louder you have the volume, the higher it will run through the PEMF. So that is adjusting the weight on it. So anyway, it is a great device. It really, it kicks things up a notch, so to speak, when you're using it. So it would be more powerful than just hearing the frequencies, even though that is really powerful in itself. The PEMF would be the top way to go. And the PEMF infrared is going to have its own benefits. One being it helps with pain and inflammation, are just 2 of the benefits from using it. But the frequencies from the Genius are also going through it. And Claire is so nicely displaying and showing us how we can move it all around. And if I had a glass here, I could show you, you could put this around. Ah, look, she has that. You could put it next to your glass, or if it's not too wide, you could put the strap around it and hold it on there, and you could transmit the frequencies right into your glass that way. So it is pretty handy and a nice way to utilize that. So anyway, now that we have worked with these items here, I just want to go back now, and I'm going to clear the main hold tray. And now I'm going to work with the reds. So I'm going to add all the reds that are from just the system overview part. And now I'm going to add my libraries back, and I can add the top 50. And now we can go back into the progressive insights. I'm going to put the timer on 1 minute and hit begin. I'm going to select all, and we can hit play. Okay, so you have a percent rectification of 14% here. So I would definitely run frequencies again with that. So I am just I'm going to deselect all and just run the highs and the lows and see if we can get those up. And I just wanted to see, there are some questions here in the chat. Tammy asks, will the PEMF help keep the frequencies away from the practitioner while the client is wearing it versus not wearing it? That's a really good question. Yeah, I mean, I guess it would, because any of the frequencies that are going to the quantum field would be going directly to the person whose name you put in. But if the client was in front of you listening to all the frequencies, if it's going through the PEMF, yeah, I would think that you're not going to get it in the same way. But it doesn't hurt you when you get the frequencies, because your body's only going to take in what it needs. So I don't think you should be concerned about that. If you were worried about getting too much, unless you're very, very sensitive to frequencies, and then I can understand that as being a problem. Oh, and Claire, you answered it, I guess. Oh, that
No,
was
my response was to Dr. Mitzi. You have another question there from Wendy regarding a around disc-like PEMF.
Oh, I have around just the you could try it. I don't know.
It would depend how it connects. If
Right.
it's Bluetooth or you have the
AUX.
audio jack, then yeah, it could work.
So yeah, so you can definitely try it. You know, if you were nervous or worried, I mean, you could probably always send maybe a picture of it and the model, and maybe Ryan could give you, but I don't think he would ever really, you know, this one is tried and tested, so he knows this one works. He may not know so much on the other one. So, but hey, try it. You never know. Okay, so let's run these frequencies again for you. I'm going to put it on 0 minutes so we can run it for 30 seconds and see if that helps. did excellent here. And it's a 59% average rectification. And then you can see that we went from 54 to 70. So you're right within that 20%, a little bit under. So that's terrific. I'm not going to run these anymore because you did well. And also I want to get to some of the other areas to work on those for you. Sarah, if you can just check in. I always love checking in with my clients after I've done these first two protocols, because so much there often people see so many shifts just in working with these first two protocols. So I was just curious how your anxiety or your right shoulder or even your cold and flu symptoms may feel right now. Volume or unmute yourself. Do you want help unmuting? Oh, I should be able to hear you. I can't hear you. Do you want to put it in the chat if we can't hear you? Yeah, your sound isn't coming through, but that's okay. Just if you just want to put it in the chat. I think your anxiety was a 7 out of 10 before. Is it still a 7 out of 10?
Are your headphones wired? You might need to unplug them so you can hear your microphone on your laptop.
We heard you before, so that's strange.
Can you unplug your headphones, Sarah? Are they wired or not? Oh, the Bluetooth.
Maybe we can just try turning your sound on and off. Mute. Let's just. Where'd you go? No. I was trying to mute you and unmute you. Now unmute yourself. Okay, well, if you just want to put in the chat, right in the chat, we'll get the answers just the same. Did you notice any shifts in your anxiety or your right shoulder pain or your cold symptoms after these first two protocols? Oh, who am I hearing now? Anxiety is a little bit more, okay? Initially symptoms in heart area, then went to solar plexus. Okay, that may just be how it's working through your body. So we'll continue to work on some panels here. We can add in today's stress. I mentioned about putting in the blue items earlier. And it will come back to me. There was something else I wanted to add from here, but I'm going to go to my custom libraries first. And would help if I remember the library's name. Here we go. Okay, so this relief and calm. So I'm just gonna add in the reds, the blues, and the greens here. And then I'm also going to go to the human body structure panel that I have, if I could spell it. Okay, so here we can address the areas of the shoulder. And I'm gonna put in the blues and the greens in this case. And that was for the bones. We can look at the ligaments for the shoulder. And again, I'm going to add the reds, the greens, and the blues. And my eyes are going. Okay, we could add in the shoulders for the muscles. And I'm going to add all of them in for the shoulder, just because all of this is all connected. And I'm also going to add a shoulder balance in here. And lastly, I'm just going to go, oh, I want to add in the veins. Oh, and the tendons. Let's just make sure we get everything. The veins, because they will need to bring oxygen to those areas. And now the pain library. And I'm going to add in the reds and the blues. And we'll go to the main hold tray, or the progressive insights rather. Again, we'll do begin analysis. Okay, great question. Dr. Mitzi has gold on why I was adding greens with the reds and the blues. The reason why is because I mentioned in the beginning that I like to work with a tight range. So I think of my like normal range between 400 and 600. So anything outside of that range I like to work with. So most of my greens would fall below 400. You're just going to have a few, the 40 to 400 to 450 in greens, that would be okay, but everything else would fall under 400. So that's why I added them in there. And I was just not gonna like go line by line and take the ones between 400 and 450 out. So I'm gonna move the timer to 1 minute and select all and hit play. So you have a 40% rectification. It didn't chime because it's not above 40%, but it's still considered a good rectification. And on top, it goes from 34 to 47. So again, that's in a good range. I would deselect all and just run with the highs and the lows and move the timer to 0. So we can run this for like 30 seconds just to see if we can get that 40% rectification a little higher. 68%. So that's wonderful. And it goes from 61 to 75. Again, it's right within the 20% threshold. So that's amazing. I'm really happy with that. If I could just check in again with you, Sarah, do you feel any shifts in your right shoulder? You're going to have to type it in because I can't hear you. And is that anxiety doing any better? I think your microphone may be working a little bit. Not really. I noticed the system mentioned my left shoulder, not my right. The anxiety is a little better. Okay, I'm glad your anxiety is a little bit better. Well, it could pick up the left shoulder. Again, you know, there's frequencies that are out of balance, but sometimes, you know, we're very, if one is hurting me, we may be overusing the other. So, but we can still continue to run those and see. In the meantime, we are a little bit over the hour mark. So let's just go and see what your aura looks like. Actually, let's just put in here cold. Cold flu remedies, and we can put some up here for you and run them for just 30 seconds or so. So this is a lower rectification, so maybe we should run this for 1 minute for you. Let me just move it down and hit play. Great. So you did have a higher percent rectification there, and the range goes from 30 to 50. So that's wonderful. So I'm just going to go back now and see if we can take a look at what your aura looks like now after all of this. Okay, so we see this does look better to me. Obviously, we want to try to work on this gray in here, and the colors are a little on the paler side right now, which may suggest that maybe you're tired a little bit or a little bit fatigued. And we still also are seeing some blurriness in there. When we switch to the old, we are seeing again some like this shading of the gray or the black, and you actually aren't looking very grounded right now at this point. So I would go back to and empty this main hold tray and just work with just want to, I'm going to add in the neurotransmitters and your red and blue emotions with the grounding library, which is right here. Okay, and again, I'm going to select all and I'll run these for 30 seconds. Okay, it's at 23%, so it's still good. We are over time, so I'm not going to run those anymore. We can see if it made any difference to helping your aura. And this is nice bright colors in there. The green in the center, we would just want to see that brighter. This is like really the ideal kind of like green color. We want to see that really neon looking color. It is still pale, but it seems to be improving to me. And you can see in here, there's more color coming through, which is good. You still look like a little bit out of your body maybe, but overall, this does look much better to me as well. How are you feeling? I don't, probably your mic isn't, is it? Or you can type it in. Still a little anxious. You know, you might be, hopefully that will settle down. I would love if you could email me later. My email is denise@insidehealthapps.com. Do you want me to put it in the chat for you, or are you okay? Denise@insidehealthapps.com. It may be that you're just a little sensitive to the frequencies, and that's making you a little anxious. So hopefully they should settle down in a little bit. And when they do, maybe you'll be feeling, you know, be able to notice some changes. No change on the shoulder. The shoulder's still the same. Okay, great. So it was like a 2 before, I think you said. Oh no, your shoulder was like a 7. I think it was high. Okay, great. I'm glad that that's better. So anyway, thank you so much, Sarah, for being a volunteer today. Let me just stop sharing here, but it's such a pleasure here to see everybody here and working with everybody week after week. So thank you. Again, I really enjoy working with all of you. Please come back again next Thursday. And if anybody who has not been a volunteer wants to be a volunteer, you can email me at Denise at Inside Health Ops. And I would love to get you on as a volunteer next week. So let me know. Otherwise, everybody have a wonderful week. Be well, be good. And thank you to Claire for helping me. And again, thank you to Sarah, my volunteer. So have a great weekend, everyone. And thank you. Bye, Mitzi. Bye, Tammy. Thanks again, everyone. Oh, I need to stop the recording.